You've worked hard, you've saved up for retirement. But what if I told you there's a massive hole in your plan that nobody seems to be talking about? Yeah, let's talk about what we call the retirement gap. Okay, let's put some real numbers to this to see what I mean. Imagine you've got a solid $200,000 saved up, and your budget tells you you're going to need about $4,000 a month to live comfortably. But then you look at your Social Security statement, and it's only covering $2,500. So right away, you're staring at this pretty stark equation. Where, where is that extra $1,500 supposed to come from every single month for the rest of your life? That is the retirement gap. And if you use the wrong kind of financial bridge to try and cross it, you could run out of money way, way sooner than you think. So let's dig in. Why does this gap even exist? And why is the conventional advice you hear all the time often not even close to enough to fill it? This is where things get really interesting, and honestly, a little bit dangerous if you're not prepared. You know, most advisors will just tell you to follow the old 4% rule. Just pull 4% of your portfolio out each year, and you'll be fine. But let's do the actual math here. On a $200,000 portfolio, 4%, that only gets you about $666 a month. So even after following the most common piece of retirement advice out there, you are still $834 short of your goal every single month. The bridge that traditional advice builds doesn't even get you halfway across the gap. You can see why this is a massive problem. And here's the hidden danger that makes this whole situation even worse. It's called sequence of returns risk. Now, that's just a fancy financial term for a simple, kind of terrifying reality. If the market crashes right after you retire, you are forced to sell your investments when they're down just to pay the bills. And doing that can absolutely devastate your portfolio's ability to ever recover. And just look at this chart. It shows you everything you need to know. Market volatility isn't a possibility, it is a certainty. I mean, look at those swings. A major downturn happens roughly once a decade. If one of those big red bars hits in your first few years of retirement, your whole plan could just collapse. Now, check this out, because this slide turns all the conventional wisdom completely on its head. This analysis shows a retiree who invested in the S&P 500, which, by the way, had a higher average return. They actually watched their portfolio shrink. But the person in the lower returning index saw their wealth grow. Now, how is that possible? Well, it's because it lost less during the downturns, protecting them from that nasty sequence of returns risk. It proves it's not always about how much you make, it's about how much you don't lose. So we know we need a stronger bridge, right? One that protects our principal. But you know, even the strongest bridge can have a hidden weakness. And in just a moment, I am going to show you the one tax trap that can ambush your retirement income and shrink that bridge if you are not careful. Okay, so enough about the problem. Let's move to the solution. Let's talk about how we can build a different kind of financial bridge, what we call an indexed bridge, that is specifically engineered to protect you from all the risks we've just talked about. This bridge is built using a tool called a fixed index annuity, or an FIA for short. You can think of it as a contract with an insurance company that kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Your growth is linked to a market index like the S&P 500, but your principal is contractually guaranteed to never go down because of market losses. So how does it actually work? It's pretty simple, really. First, you get principal protection. Your absolute worst-case scenario in a market crash is a 0% return that year. You don't lose a single dime. Second, you get market-linked growth, so you capture a portion of the gains when the index goes up. And third, you have the option to turn it into a guaranteed lifetime income stream, basically a personal pension that you can never outlive. And listen, this isn't some niche, fringe strategy we're talking about. According to the data, sales for these annuities have seen consistent, record-setting growth year after year as more and more retirees are flocking to the strategy for its safety and its predictability. And it's not just popular, it's proven. I mean, a huge study from Ernst & Young, one of the largest accounting firms in the world, concluded that retirement strategies that integrate insurance products like FIAs can actually outperform an investment-only approach over the long haul. So here's the crucial point. This is the whole ballgame. By using a specific feature inside an FIA, often called a guaranteed income rider, we can strategically turn that same $200,000 into a guaranteed $1,500 monthly paycheck for life. You see, it's not about investing. It's about building a personal pension to perfectly close that income gap. Okay, now for that tax trap I mentioned earlier. Here it is. The income from this indexed bridge is taxable as ordinary income. That's kind of the trade-off for all the safety it provides. So the solution isn't to avoid it, but to plan for it. A really smart strategy uses different types of accounts, some taxable, some tax-free, to create a balanced and tax-efficient retirement. The key takeaway here is that how you structure your entire plan really, really matters. All right, let's put it all together. What does your new secure retirement actually look like once you've built this index bridge? Well, here it is. Nice and simple. You've got your $2,500 from Social Security, plus your brand new $1,500 paycheck from your index bridge. That gives you a grand total of $4,000 a month, exactly what you need, with reliability and, most importantly, peace of mind. And this is the real power of the whole strategy. You've hit your income goal, sure, but more importantly, you have removed the fear. You are no longer watching the stock market every day, terrified that a crash is going to derail your entire retirement. Your core income is secure. Now, if you want to see how the actual math for this year could work for your specific age and your situation, go ahead and click the link in the description. We've put together what we call a retirement gap blueprint to help you map out your very own secure bridge. So I'm just going to leave you with this one question to think about. A typical retirement can easily last 30 years or more. So is your current financial plan built on a solid, reliable bridge, or are you just walking a tightrope over a very volatile market?